And then welcome to the practice today. I've prepared 2 blocks. They're not really mandatory, but they could be of very good use for 1 or 2 of the movements that we're practicing today. And as usual, I've got a blanket sitting here. And what I would love to do today, and it might come very handy, is to focus on our inner smile. Then maybe that even ripples out and expresses itself upon the face at some point. But yeah, the inner smile is what we're focusing on today. So perhaps starting in a lying down position. And before you're completely comfortable, I'll come up to the camera and show you Hansi Mudra. Hansi Mudra is for the inner smile. And so it is basically to touch all fingertips together, but the little finger. The little finger sticks out, and the thumb is touching to all the other fingers. And then you can rest the backs of the hands down as you're lying down. So as you might come to that lying down position, touching those fingers together, leaving your little finger sticking out a little, backs of the hands down, shoulders easy, and of course the rest of the body easy as well. So perhaps your knees are bent, maybe your legs are out long, whichever is suitable for you right now. As I introduce the topic, what came up in your mind? Hansi, which is the name of this mudra, translates into smile or laughter. I'd ask you to breathe just a little bit more deeply without trying to direct the breath into any particular part of the body. And maybe noticing where this deeper breath flows as you hold this mudra. Of course, as we look into the inner smile, relating it to Anandamaya Kosha, our bliss body that lies so very deep that we oftentimes need to go through all the other layers to find access, which is what we do in each yoga class, really. Moving through physical, energetic, mind, higher selves perspective. So working with Hansi Mudra might help to release limiting beliefs. And it can guide you to your true inner being. Limiting beliefs oftentimes created out of memories, past experiences. And some of them might not serve us anymore. So perhaps for the next few deeper breaths, feeling how the chest area opens and releases. The area of the heart energy, love and kindness. And perhaps if limiting ideas or even beliefs arise in your mind, decide to let them go with your out-breath. Right now, you don't need any of them. And perhaps some stay away from you if you figure out they're no longer needed. And you could then decide to actually put a smile upon your lips. And then imagine, as you keep breathing deeply, that this smile spreads into your entire being. Perhaps this idea of spreading a smile into your being and expressing it upon your face make you feel a bit lighter. You could now bend your knees if your legs are extended and place the feet down onto the ground. You might have your arms out a little bit, the elbows bent, as if you're expressing a smile with your arms. You could then choose to breathe in and open your knees out to either side as if you're smiling there too. And as you breathe out, bringing the legs back up. So an inhale to open the knees out, and an exhale to bring them back together. You might play with that for a little while, and if you choose to, you could also deliberately direct the breath all the way through the body, so using the belly as well as the higher chest, and of course the ribcage. You might, when you next time bring your knees together, wiggle the feet just comfortably apart. Some of you might prefer to have them even wider. And beginning to roll the knees from side to side. Notice where you're holding tension and use your breaths as you're moving your legs from side to side. So you can use your in-breaths to move the knees and come back on the exhale. Or you might have chosen to breathe out to come into a twist and center on the in-breath. And perhaps you're now unsure, and you could try both and then stay with whatever felt right. If your neck is happy and you haven't done so yet, you might begin to roll the head from side to side. You might eventually hold as your knees are over on the right-hand side. You might shuffle your hips a little bit more into the center. Perhaps even draw both of your knees up a bit closer towards the chest, and maybe your shoulders can stay grounded. If you feel like it, your right hand could help your knees to hold place, or even come up a bit closer towards the chest. Then release any potential holds. Bring the knees back to the center. Lengthen your spine back over the mat by adjusting the pelvis. And then rolling your knees over to the left. And you might do the same here. Bring your hips into a more comfortable position. Take the knees a little bit further up. If you can ground the shoulder down. And then take a few breaths here. You might, as well as on the other side, help one or both knees to stay a bit closer using the left hand. Now gently rolling all the way to the left-hand side, pushing the top hand into the ground, so that you might be able to come up to a seat. From there, could you use the 2 blocks, placing one down and the other like a T shape. I will have both of my blocks flat. I do recommend to have the lengthwise block flat in general, and I will turn around so you might be able to see where to place the block as you place it right there in between the shoulder blades. How to do that? I will sit down in front of this construction, have my fingers on that block, place it there towards the lower ribs with the lowest edge, lie over it, and adjust the other block to support my head. You can then choose to keep your feet on the floor, your knees bent, which might be very supportive for pelvis, lower back. And then your arms will be rolling out softly with the elbows gently bent. Find the block directly aligned over your spine so that the shoulder blades are hugging the block in. Other option would be to extend the legs out if you're feeling very comfortable here. Adjust to the new position. And if it feels right, keep your arms soft and move them a little bit up and a little bit down. Elbows a bit bent so the shoulder blades keep hugging the block, and you might experience a gentle massage there on the inner sides of the shoulder blades. Depending on your shoulder mobility, arm mobility, the movement could be bigger than what I am demonstrating here. But keeping your shoulder blades attached to the block that you're lying over. Giving yourself that gentle massage to stimulate and perhaps even to mobilize this area. And then when you feel it's enough, rest your arms back down comfortably. Still keep the elbows a little bit soft, the shoulder blades hugging, and pause for a few deeper breaths. If it is possible after these breaths to sit up straight, or you would like to try, bring the hands a bit underneath the buttocks and snuggle your elbows to your sides. Your feet might be a bit further away, then tuck the chin in and push yourself up to sit. Not working, sit up differently. I will now place the blocks to the short front side end of the mat in preparation. And you might like to join me here on all fours. Landing with your knees at hip distance, the hands at shoulder distance, and either hands are spread out onto the ground or you're standing on fists, and the tops of the feet are quite active into the mat. Taking an inhale, and on the exhale, rounding into a cat. You might all be very familiar with this movement, an option to lengthen the spine or come to a back bend by lifting tail and gaze, and out breath again to round. So inhaling, lengthening or back bending, exhaling into the cat. Perhaps only a couple more here. Noticing where you experience range of movement and where you're rather tight. And then finding a neutral spine on the following inhale. Now place the back of your left hand down underneath your chest. And then keep your pelvis in this neutral position. So become aware of its position and then slide the arm under to thread the needle, but not necessarily to lie down, but to keep your body with the hips parallel. You might still be able to look underneath your right arm, approaching it with a bit more strength today. Although some of you might be able to bring the head down, nevertheless. Then push the floor away again, land on your left hand, neutralize your spine, big breath out into the cat. And inhale to come back to neutral, and now place the back of your right hand down underneath the chest. Breathing in, and the same here. No need to go all the way to the floor, just sliding your arm under, maybe looking underneath the left. And I just noticed my hip has dropped. So I'm coming a little bit back, trying to balance my pelvis and reaching over and across anyway. The breath in to come back into center, and then out breath now to round and reach all the way back towards the heels, finding an extended child's pose. Perhaps there's a little wiggle needed into the pelvis, maybe also into the shoulders and the neck. And then another in-breath as you return back upon your hands and knees for Anahatasana, as you might slide your arms forward, potentially rest the forearms down, leave your hips now stacked over the knees, forehead or chin could rest, and you might become very heavy here in your heart space, letting the chest sink towards the mat. There might be this awareness of the heart reaching towards the floor. There might also be a squeeze in between the shoulder blades. As you slide your hands back, lifting again onto all fours, and a deep roundedness into the cat, which you might hold, drawing up on your pelvic floor, in with the belly lightly. Then come back to a neutral position, and perhaps rise to stand upon the knees if that is available. As you come to stand, you might actually come back into Hansi Mudra, touching all your fingers together other than your little finger. You could open the arms out in a cactus style. Draw your knees lightly together without moving them, stabilizing. And then take a breath in to lift the sternum so the lower back remains long. And on the out breath, joining perhaps the forearms together, maybe even tucking your chin in. So for the in breath, opening the heart space. For the out breath, opening it at the back. So be mindful when you're opening your heart space that your knees are still lightly drawing in toward each other. The lower back stays rather neutral or long. You might repeat that for just 2 more breaths here. Then releasing your arms down by the sides, letting go of Hansi Mudra. And I will leave it up to you how you make your way to the front side end of the mat standing. Give yourself as much support as you might need to step to that place. Ideally, you've got your blocks sitting there on either side of the mat, standing upright and tall. A breath in to reach the arms up. Bend the knees and out breath as you draw your hands down the midline, reaching for a forward bend. And inhale to create a half lift. Now an out breath, hands could be on your blocks, right foot stepping back far, and the knee comes down to the floor. You may even untuck your toes. Now I will bring my blocks a little bit back from there, and then slide the other foot a tad bit further forward. Now I'm breathing in to lean into the hips, keeping my spine long. And out for a half Hanuman, raising the sole of the foot, but lowering the nose to the knee. So an inhale to lengthen the spine, leaning into the hips. And out breath to draw the toes back, nose towards the knee. So you might alternate between these two and use your slow flowing breath for it. There's no need to rush, nowhere to be, other than right here in this movement. When you completed your next one, you're leaning towards half Hanuman. Pause. Then lightly land the foot back down. Your hands might now come onto the mat, and you could step the knee back. Your choice is here, a few rounds of cat and cow, or stepping hands forward, finding a kneeling plank. And an out breath to lower down towards the mat, resting the forehead down, untucking the toes. On the in breath, lifting for a cobra, keep the shoulder blades down the spine. On the exhale, lower back towards the mat. On the inhale, come onto all fours. You may tuck the toes under and come to puppy pose as you reach your fingers and arms forward and the tailbone up and back. You're feeling very supported here and great. You might stay. Others might raise their knees off the floor and practice a down dog instead. If you're in a down dog, please stay. Otherwise, lift up onto all fours as you breathe in, and we will hold on the out breath. Lifting the right leg up on the in breath, foot is flexed, pelvis is balanced. And on the exhale, bringing the knee forward or helping your foot towards the front. Now I will grab my blocks again, sliding that foot a little bit further forward. And starting on the inhale to lean towards the front to lengthen the spine. On the out breath, raising the sole, drawing the toes back and the nose towards the knee, your half Hanuman. So the in breath is a long spine, leaning into the hips. And the out breath, the forward fold over the front leg. Keep that flowing again, same as on the other side, finding your pattern. Couple more, and you might then at the end of them hold in Ardha Hanumanasana. Keeping your toes drawing back, the upper body leaning forward, shoulders in their sockets. Then bend the front knee again, land the foot to the ground. Might tuck the backside toes under to lift the knee, and then step to the front and forward fold. Find ease here in the spine, in the shoulders, in the neck, and a long out to uncurl to standing. You might lift your arms up as you breathe in and relax them by the side, breathing out. Arms raising again, breathing in. Hands might touch as they come down the midline, knees soft, forward fold. Then inhale, hands might be on blocks, and I'm placing mine a little bit higher now, half lift. And now stepping the left foot back. Not quite as far as before. As mentioned, I've got my blocks on the higher setting. But now, if you like to repeat the previous, definitely an option. Bring the knee back down. Or you might bend both of your knees, lift your heart as you breathe in. Then even ground the back heel, lengthen both legs and lean down to the knee like a pyramid shape. So for the inhale, both knees bend, heart and gaze are lifting forward. On the out, both land your feet, straighten the legs and fold forward. Now repeating that for 3 breaths. As mentioned before, you can practice a repeat of the last version. When you completed your 3, pause for a moment in the pyramid, more actively pressing down into the ball of the front foot, perhaps more aware of the shoulders away from the ears. Then bending both knees again, you might place the blocks to the side, finding your down dog or an all-4 stance, your choice. Same option. If you prefer cats and cows, please practice those. Otherwise, come forward into a kneeling or a full plank and out to lower down onto the mat. Choosing your type of back bend intensity as you breathe in and release again on the out breath. Inhaling back to all fours and choosing between a puppy or a downward facing dog. Let yourself settle in, have any little movement that might be needed. Perhaps you're able to lengthen the out breath to settle your breathing. And if you're in a down dog, please stay. Otherwise, come up onto all fours. Now extending the left leg back, a breath in. On the out breath, bring the knee forward or help the leg towards the front. Now I'm choosing the higher setting of the blocks again. I'm tucking my back toes under, and please feel free again to repeat the movement on the knees. If you're lifting up, please shorten and widen your stance a bit. So we begin in the same way, both knees bending as your heart and gaze lift, breathing in. And a pyramid as you land the heel, lengthen the legs and fold over the front one. So breathing in to bend and out to fold. Here too, repeating perhaps for 3 more breaths. And I'm really bad at counting, I just noticed, so whenever your count of 3 is completed, pause in the pyramid. Think of shoulders away from ears, all of the foot at the front pressing down. Then bend the knees, Step towards the front, retreat to a standing forward fold. And an out breath to uncurl the spine. You might give the shoulders a lift and a shrug if that feels good, letting them rest down. Standing to face the front side end of the mat. I will step a little bit further forward. Taking hands upon your hips. Stepping back with the right foot, finding the same stance that we had in the pyramid, hip distance apart, but now we're bending into the front knee, warrior one stance. An option here to return to Hansi Mudra, and perhaps the cactus arms. As you stand here, comfortable hip distance, let your feet draw lightly inward so you're stabilizing. With that, the pelvis lower back might be safe as you squeeze your shoulder blades, lift your heart, and maybe even your gaze. Giving that little squeeze in towards heart center at the back. Inhale as you open your arms out wide, more like a big smile. And you can start to lean forward and find a warrior three. So the back foot could lift off the floor, turning your toes towards the ground, finding length in your spine. Then land the foot down, release the fingers, the arms, come to stand, take a deep full breath in, have a sigh out. Hands might return to the hips, and then stepping your left foot back, finding that same stance, hip distance apart, then bend the front knee. And you might return to Hansi Mudra, all fingers touching, but the little ones. Maybe even to the cactus arms again. And your feet start to draw inwards as you find stability in the lower body. Then take a deep breath to raise the sternum, squeeze the shoulder blades, hold the tension, the support in the legs. Maybe your chin is lifting, looking upwards. Thinking of that big smile that comes right from within and perhaps expresses itself on your face too. Then as you open your arms out into a bigger smile, the back heel might start to lift. Returning to warrior three as the back foot might lift off the floor. Please flex it, point the toes towards the ground. Landing feet next to each other, releasing mudra, arms, shoulders, deep breath in, perhaps a sigh out. And we'll fold forward once again as you breathe in, lifting the arms. On the out breath, slowly folding forward and down. A half lift for the in breath. And then stepping both knees onto the mat, returning to all fours. Sticking your right leg out to the side. Aligning it with the knee on the floor, keeping hip above the knee and the toes on the other side looking forward. Bring the hands up towards your knee and roll yourself up to stand. So hip is above the knee. The back of your hand is resting upon the leg. You might sneak in a little Hansi Mudra there. And you could do the same as you reach your arm up on the other hand. And then beginning to lean into Parigasana, the side bend. Keep the hand loose that is resting upon your extended leg. Keep the top shoulder back and perhaps even look up or down to one of your mudras. Then bend the knee on the extended leg. Roll your arm down. Bring your hands back down and even your knee to the floor. We'll change sides. So the other leg is extending out, aligning again the foot at the height of the knee, the toes looking forward, and then bring the hands back towards the knee and start to roll yourself up gently. Check that the hip is placed above the knee. And the same here, if available, back of the hand upon the long leg, fingertips touching other than the little finger. Perhaps you do the same on the other arm, reaching it up if that's available to breathe in, and then an elbows to lean to the other side. Same here, hand is loose and gentle, resting on the extended leg, top shoulders back, and perhaps your gaze is looking towards one of the mudras. Then right here, present. Then bring a bend into the extended leg, rolling yourself down. Hands come back down, knees come back down onto the floor, and you might find your way either via plank or else towards the mat. You could rest the forehead down, and you could choose to have cactus arms here on either side. Some of you might prefer to step up onto the fingertips instead. Grounding through the tops of your feet. Take a breath in to lift your upper body. Perhaps your arms are floating like this. Perhaps you've got the fingertips down to support, arms are wide anyway. See if you can hold and breathe. Then an exhale to soften down towards the ground. Have any little movement such as the swaying of the pelvis that might help your body to reset. And we will go for a second round. Reactivate the tops of the feet so the knees are rising. Extra option for those would like to extend fingertips behind the head. Lifting the upper body again. Supporting yourself with cactus arms, bent elbows, or fingers on the floor, and breathing. Exhale, release back down onto the mat. Then here, you might add some little wiggles, claiming comfort. And then hands come back underneath the shoulders. Take the breath in, lift yourself up upon all fours, and then come to lie down on your back. I would love for you to be extremely comfortable. So perhaps there's a block by your side. Maybe you also gather, although we're still far away from that, your items for relaxation, Shavasana time. So beginning here with the feet resting on the ground. Take a few deeper controlled breaths. And maybe maintain this deeper way of breathing. Placing then your right ankle upon your left thigh, starting with the flexion of the foot. Right hand might guide the knee away. You can choose to remain here if this is for you, or reach your right arm through between the legs, lift the left foot, hold on behind the left leg, and perhaps the right elbow is guiding the knee outward. Keep the right foot flexed to support the right knee. Maybe flex the left foot too. For those of you enjoying movement, you might start in a slow motion to extend the left leg, or however far you might choose to do that. And then bend it again. While you're holding your legs in towards you, you might repeat that a few times. And you might even find a spot in the right glutes that feels it could need some extra attention. And perhaps holding it at that attention point at some stage. To increase that yet still, could you ever so small lean over towards the left and feel the tension in the right side of the buttocks, and hold there and breathe. Then placing your left foot back down if you lifted it. Keep your right ankle on the thigh. Let your arms roll out to either side. Perhaps bringing your knees to the right. If this is uncomfortable, you can have both feet on the floor. Maybe using your right foot to bring your left knee a bit deeper, and perhaps even turning your gaze. To center yourself, could you slide the right foot to the floor first? Then bring your knees up, then center your pelvis. Please spend a couple of breaths here, realigning yourself. Now raising your left ankle upon the right thigh. Flex the left foot. Left hand might guide the knee away from you. This flexion here of the ankle joint is more for the knee than for the ankle itself. And further option as on the other side, reaching left arm through and perhaps taking a hold of the back of the right thigh. Left elbow might guide your knee outward. Maintaining length in the back of the neck. Flexion of the left foot and perhaps of the right foot too. Choose to stay here, or perhaps starting to, in slow motion, extend your right leg. Maybe a little, maybe fully, and then bend it again. You might repeat that for a couple of rounds. Sometimes we find our tight spot in the left side of the buttocks much earlier than that. We're quite sure where we feel the tightest, and you could then choose to stay right there. As usual, try and be observant how that relates to the other side, or even not. Finding a slightly different position. As discomfort might ease over a few breaths, could you also choose to lean a tiny bit towards the right, fully aware where you can increase the stretch and holding there. It's all about the left side of the buttocks at this point, but perhaps you feel it somewhere else too. Eventually landing your right foot back down, letting your arms gently fall away, leaving the left ankle upon the thigh. If you prefer, bring the foot down, and on your next breath, could you roll your legs towards the left, using again the weight of the foot to guide your knee further down, keeping shoulders grounded, and again a choice to turn the head. Your choice to guide legs up without removing the foot, or bringing the foot down before you center your knees again. Then center your spine and taking a couple of breaths to find ease. Now, as today, there is a certain amount of heat arising in our environment. I would love to finish the asana part, our physical practice, with the legs up the wall pose, aware that not everyone has a free space of wall. I'm very lucky to have these barn doors here, so I will just shuffle my hips over towards the barn doors and then groove myself with the legs up that door. If you prefer to practice on a block, which you have by your side, you could slide that under. Some of you might bend their knees, lift the hips up, place the block underneath the sacrum in any height that you might choose. Perhaps keep a hold and then extend your legs towards the ceiling. You could open your arms out and even revisit Hansi Mudra, so all fingertips touching, little fingers sticking out, keeping a nice relaxed position in the upper body, the heels lightly resting against the wall, or in my case, the door. You might choose to close your eyes, or you could steady your gaze up towards the ceiling. Deep, slow breathing again. Why did I mention the heat coming up today? Because this posture is beneficial at any time, but especially in the heat, we collect a lot of fluids down in our feet. Legs get very heavy. And this might just be a lovely posture to practice later in the day again. Indulge for now in the sensations that you experience in all your different layers, while your hand position or Hansi Mudra might be focused on that inner smile. If your mind is wandering greatly, perhaps put the smile back onto your face, then let it ripple into your whole being. I'm aware that if you're only on a block, no wall, you might have enough. Please feel free to come out if needed. We will join you in just a moment. For those of you with the legs up the wall, you might now choose to release any support underneath the hips. Bring that out of the way before bending both knees into the chest. Notice the shift here of flow, of energy. Perhaps there's even a light sense, and you could imagine that too, of coolness around your feet. Before rolling over to one side, and if you're already on your mat, just simply sliding back, coming back to lie over the mat. And to complete, you might give your knees a little hug in towards the chest, and perhaps for a moment rocking from side to side. When you feel ready, come into your resting pose, constructive rest or full shavasana. So either the knees are bent, the feet are wide, and the knees are dropping in. That's a constructive rest. Or your legs are out long. Maybe they're over a support, a cushion, a bolster, the seat of your couch. And arms will drop back out towards the sides. And if you enjoy your inner smile exploration, you might now also choose to come back into Hansi Mudra. And as usual, if we're practicing mudras during our relaxation time, it is to have a more meditative approach at it. But if your hands are drifting apart, it's fine. Don't stress about the hands, rather relax. The intention for cultivating the inner smile is there anyway. Checking in with any feelings and sensations that this hand gesture might bring up for you. While your breath is gently flowing now, it might still reside around your upper chest, maybe even sit around neck and head. And perhaps also naturally instilling a sense of joy and happiness. As you might now focus on joy and happiness, let that permeate your being. And perhaps even a very soft smile naturally arises on your face. Let your next few breaths allow this smile to gradually infuse your entire being, from the crown of the head down to your feet. You might eventually sense your entire being smiling radiantly. All of your essential positive qualities awakened naturally. You might now begin awakening the quality of joyfulness, taking several breaths to sense uplifting energy spreading throughout your being. The feeling that every moment of life is worth living fully and completely. As joyfulness permeates your being, you naturally awaken the quality of appreciation of beauty, experiencing awe and wonder in everything you see, especially the small details of daily living. Living joyfully and with appreciation of beauty, you naturally awaken the quality of communion, a sense of oneness with all beings that allows you to live with inner and outer harmony. As you integrate joy, appreciation, and communion, you naturally awaken to your inherent wholeness, knowing that you are absolutely complete and nothing can be added or subtracted from your essential being. Aligned with your inherent wholeness, you turn inward naturally to rest in the silence of your true being, awakening the wisdom that guides you at each step of your journey. In this space of sacred silence, you naturally experience your essential bliss, taking some breaths to bath in your inherent radiance. You might take in the thought, my inner smile serves as a key for awakening all my inherent positive qualities. Seeing your inner smile, lightly reflecting it upon your face. Letting go of Hansi Mudra, taking perhaps a deeper breath. Maybe a soft sigh out, keeping the smile happening. Where you might start to continue deeper breathing and moving, or even stretching out. And when you're ready, you might choose to roll to a side or sit up over the front, joining me in a seated position, where the hands might join together at the heart center, Anjali Mudra. You touch upon this space. Smile might arise again upon your face. Joy within your being might be present. Perhaps you even had a glimpse at this bliss body that lies within you. And from a place of joy, we then bow and extend toward each other. Namaste.